This computer software contains content that may be unsuitable for some players, including depiction of violence, sexual conduct, abuse, rape, mental illness, murder, discriminatory language, and suicide. This work does not in any way endorse or affirm criminal acts or violations of human rights. By continuing beyond this point, the user agrees he or she or they acknowledges the above, does not find such content described above offensive nor obscene, and is requesting this content as in good mental health. Hashihime of the Old Book Town. Okay. Before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Korvan. I usually stream on Twitch, but today it's a pre-recorded video for Halloween. On the last Halloween, last year, we played Omori, and I played the whole series until like January. So we'll see how long this one will take. But I'm very excited of this game because it's BL. And if you guys have been following my Final Fantasy series, you know I have been having a BL craze. So let's hopefully this will fill in those cravings. On side note also, I've tried recording this before, but the recording always somehow breaks or like doesn't work properly, so I'm trying again. So technically I've read like a few minutes of the game, but it's fine. I played like 3 weeks ago, I don't really remember, but we'll see. Anyway, let's just start with the game. According to the man, the phantom lived in the basement. Night after night he would kidnap Simon, tie them to a cold chair, and tell them his questionable life story until the break of dawn. He spoke without passion or emotion. He spoke about himself as if speaking of someone else. If I had to complain about one thing, it would be how cold the chair was. My second complaint would be that the man's story was boring. And my third was that the man seemed to want my final opinion on it. Why would you want something like that? Because I'm the Phantom. Up until a moment ago, I should have been looking at the Shiodome River from Shinbridge. As soon as I realized I had been kidnapped, I started to understand why the chair was so cold. You get it now? He asked. But before I offered my opinion, I had one question. When will the morning come? Once I'm dawn. Once I'm dawn. The Phantom said it was night, it would become night. If he said it was morning, it would become morning. But once he did, it was no longer Japan, nor was it another world. It was a so-called world of illusions, with its concept of time that the Phantom controlled. The story begins with me.
A man harboring obscure anxieties about the transient world, being detained by a curious, grotesque monsters. It's a miserable and beautiful story about me, finally clinging to life when faced with a genuine god of death. At least it should have been. When he finished turning the last page, he tapped the now bare table with his middle finger. He seemed to be demanding something, or searching for something. It cut into the gramophone's brisk melody. At any rate, I could tell the behavior was out of disgust. Nani kore? Hello, Kawase. What is this? Without thinking, I blurted out the same thing. Oh, I guess we are Tamamori? I expected his voice to be more full of praise and admiration. His reaction was somehow different from what I'd imagined. Maybe I had given him the wrong manuscript? Thinking that couldn't be possible, I took a peek. No matter how many times I looked it over, though, it was the story I'd written. The Phantom in the Basement. Ugh, I like them. Oh, he's one of those, isn't he? Though I love the voice acting though. You all know. We all know. I stand for voice actings. That is a mean way to put it, yeah. Kawase blew out the tobacco he was holding in. An indescribable smile was waiting for me beyond the haze I parted. Ship. Kawase pulled the manuscript towards himself and looked it over again. He traced over the last line with his pinky finger over and over in disgust. When will the morning come? Once I'm done. It's a pun? That is not clever. His cigarette sprung up like a shishiodoshi and scattered ash all over the page. As if that weren't enough, he snubbed the flame out on my manuscript. Wow. What a rude motherfucker. The flame burned through several pages before the smoldering sound stopped. He tilted his hand in confusion when I immediately gathered up the manuscript pages. Yeah? Poor Tamamori. An impressive hole pierced right through the middle of the manuscript. When I glared at him through the small peephole, Kawase pulled out his wallet in annoyance. Oh, he's one of those, isn't he? The rich money will fix everything. Do like the stereotypes though. That's not the problem. That's not the problem, Kawase. He was like an old man flashing a mouth full of gold teeth. Even if you rebuild the crumbling animal with gold and silver, they're still not the teeth you had to begin with. That's true. And yet I wasn't such an ogre that I wouldn't take his feelings into consideration and try to sell the things out of court, so to speak. So you just wanted the money. Tamamori just wanted the money. 3 yen? Well, I guess this is the olden days. It's, I think, 1971. So that probably costs a lot, technically. Toilet paper now. Poor him. Poor him. What a thoroughly evil man. He was a devil and most likely had no idea what sort of feelings I had put into this manuscript. He couldn't imagine just how much planning, and more planning I put into each page with my hands, my eyes, and my heart. I faked a cough and let out a sigh. Kinsou na kansei ga. It wasn't as if I had no talent. There was no way I had no skills whatsoever. It was all Kawase's fault. He was unfeeling, an emotional devil. We love the
今なんて言った？
貧相な感性だと言ったのだ。
言いたのだ。
聞き捨てならないね。審美眼があると言ってほしい。
What is this conversation?
審美眼か。所詮、宝石が自ら輝くまでその価値に気づけないくせ。
自分が何かの原石だって言いたいの？言い訳だけはしゃれてるね。
Okay, he's pretty funny. Kawase's pretty funny.
言い訳などではない。それによく分かった。お前がどれだけつまらない人間かということがな。
This was the fourth time I had asked Kawase for a critique. The first time when I was nervous, he crumpled it up. The second time when I was hopeful, he sent it flowing away on the river. The third time when I was fully prepared, he turned it into a paper airplane and sent it flying away into the sky.
何を見せてもつまらない。何を聞いても退屈だ。もう何があるのは貴様の方としか思えない。
You know, despite that, you still give it to him and he still reads it, so I don't know. Why do you guys keep doing this charade if both of you guys hate it?
本当に失礼なやつだな君は。俺だって心に響けば手を叩くし、感動できれば君を撫でてあげるよ。
Ooh, a pat in the hat?
それはそれで気持ち悪い。
I like it.
ああ、早く君をワシャワシャしてあげたいな。
Oh god, I ship them so much. It's just a start, and I'm already shipping them. What exactly are you trying to say with that deadpan voice? Things like that could make me flare up at him again and again. What kind of flare up though? Anger or blush? But unable to find the right words for a comeback, I swallowed my feelings. I was the one who had asked the guy for like this for critiques. Exactly. You know, if you don't like his critique, don't ask him. I was the one who had brought it up, so there was absolutely no way I could back down. I see. Pride. Every man's weakness.
明日出直す。
Tamawari.
楽しみだね。次はもう少し多めに持ってこよう。
I love him. Kawase said, tapping his wallet.
また持つことになるだろうからね。
This bitch. What an utterly vile man. Kawase lit his last match as he held a cigarette in his smirking mouth. But perhaps my curse was at work because it wouldn't light. In the end, the head of the match broke off and rolled tragically away.
あれ？しけってる。
Shigetere. Oh, where's the music's gone? The magic's just damp. You know, we don't need to be dramatic.
梅雨ってのは生きにくい季節だよ。
Is it because he's mad as he's gonna get turned into a serial killer or something? Perhaps. He does look like one. Kawase commented on the weather as he tossed the matchbox away. Ooh, very calming. The thin glass distorted the sky, making me worry even more about getting back. It felt as though the sound of rain tapping against the window was telling me to hurry on home.
私はこれで失礼する。
食うだけ食って帰るなんて想像しいやつだな。
Yeah, well, that's me. Which one of us was being obnoxious now? True. I gathered up the remaining pages Kawase had read and discarded, then glared at them. Kawase brought his coffee to his now lonely lips, the corner of his eyes crinkling as he smiled crudely. One day, one of my stories will hit you so hard you'll look positively drunk. When I thought of that, I cracked a smile as well. I love it. I don't think I say that right, but I love it. I ship them so hard. Ooh, are we going to my place? Again, He's a serial killer. I'm calling right here. Kawase is a serial killer. At least a 2B one.
当たり前だ。お前も意地を張らず、そろそろ素直になって。
Soon? What is that noise? Our minor argument was suddenly drowned by a deep rumbling. And freaking Cthulhu burst out of the ground. Along with an eerie sound that seemed to be speeding right at us. Is a truck just gonna burst into the building? Perhaps? The ground shook violently. I was immediately thrown off to the floor. Waitresses screamed. Plates broke. The window panes creaked. Kawase spat out his coffee. The moment I was flung out from my seat, my manuscript scattered all over the place again. What had just happened? Earthquake? The roar grew distant and the shaking gradually subsided. Then again, an earthquake do not roar. At least I don't think so. 1 page from a manuscript gently covered the top of my head. When I remove it and look up at the ceiling, the chandelier which was spinning around and around made me dizzy. You know, this game makes me feel like something's going to happen every time. Like, by writing this, it's like the chandelier is gonna fall off or something. The guests and waitresses fell silent. They all had the same look on their faces. Only the gramophone sang its jazz like it was completely unaware.
大きい車が通ったのか。
I guess.
バカか君。地震に決まってるだろ地震。
Oh, yes, it was an earthquake. Then again, the waters kind of makes sense. I don't know if you guys ever live near like a lot of factories. When big trucks go through the small streets, the ground shakes violently. Let me tell you that.
地震。こんなに大きいのは初めてだな。
そう。去年くらいから結構頻発してると思うけど。くそ。
Sexy. Kawase looked down at his chest and grieved for his uniform, which was damp with coffee. It wasn't all that bad. He could just wipe it off and let it dry on its own, but Kawase clicked his tongue dramatically. He is really a drama queen, isn't he? How dare you? Yeah, I guess. Well, no, that's a crime. Kawaii.
結局君は慣習にとらわれない自分を見てほしいだけなんでしょ。いやしいね。
いやしい。
早速外見に滲み出てる。ガトリング砲のような矢だ。
A Gatling gun. In 1971, there's a Gatling gun. Pretty dope. Feeling as though I should back off from Kawase in his pissy mood, I once again began to gather up my manuscript. Everyone in the earthquake-shaken cafe had calmed down and begun to move. Everyone, that was. He is really mad. Except for Kawase. Alright, he sure is pissed for a stained shirt. I mean, I understand, but, you know. Just in case, I cleaned my glasses and took another look. But I really couldn't understand what he was so upset about. I mean, the Momori is a really nice guy. I would be pissed off at Kawase for right now. Could black coats be stained even blacker than they were to begin with? I guess his fussiness really was some kind of disorder. Germophobe? Even I wasn't stupid enough to fan the flames by trying to understand his pain. Yeah, don't. But yeah, coffee stain like makes your freaking clothes like just crusty. I hate it as well. I stared too quickly to wrap things up here. A waitress made her way towards us. Teidaise-san. I think Teidaise is university student. Let's see. Yeah, see? Teikoku Daigaku. Oh, I guess. Yeah, I remember this from the one. Oh, can't you guys see the pop-up? You guys can't see the pop-up. Oh, that's weird. Okay. So Teidaise is a student who attends the Imperial University known as Teikoku Daigaku. So Teidai, I guess, is like a short of it. Pretty nice, pretty cool. Nani. This girl. Whoa! She bowed and fell to her knees and began eagerly wiping off Kawase's uniform. Girl, I know we're all thirsty for some man, but this ain't it. Her pink handkerchief turned a faint coffee brown. If I could guess why she was doing this, then the actual person she was doing it must have realized the waitress' feelings for him already. I mean, if he doesn't, it's more surprising, you know, by this point. I wonder what Kawase would do. Well, it was pointless either way. Stop him, Momori. Ooh, he's surprising nice. No. Adding the backstory, it's like something like freaking manga shit happening. Oh, there was a red flower blooming on it. Why am I not surprised? Hey, what's with you and old people? Don't be like that. Of this girl, she's not even putting the act up. She's like, oh, you don't like the grandma story? No worries, it was a lie. How cunning! It was like she knew she could attach some kind of a sentimental value to a simple handkerchief just by starting off with, it was my grandmother's. Yeah, cunning. However, that only infuriated Kawase even more. Understandable, she lied. Oh well, that's not understandable. You shouldn't do that, Kawase. You do look quite fine, but you still shouldn't do that. Kawase poured his remaining coffee over the waitress' head. She trembled and let out a delayed yelp. You know the earthquake was not because of the cafe, right? You cannot just ask for free coffee. I don't know. Oh god. He's a dick. Just gonna say that there. Dick move. The waitress was dumbfounded by his stone-cold eyes. Serial killer. She probably never thought the person she admired would treat her ever this way. Normally I would have kept quiet and ignored them, but today I found my eyes wandering nervously. I would be too. Kiideru? Very sexy. Whoever your VA is, very sexy, but also rude. Really? Okay. The hair grabbing is too much. Kawase, stop yourself. Tamomori, what are you doing? Kawase said, grabbing the waitress's hair and turning her ear towards him. Wow, she looks great with short hair. Like, if you cut the bangs off, she looks great. If you cut the braid off, she looks great. Just saying. Yeah, Tamomori, stop him. Oh! Well, we had similar opinion, but I think you meant it in a mean way. I mean it as a compliment. Just saying. Also, why don't you like braids? Braid looks nice. Naturally, everyone in the cafe was focusing their gazes on us. Yeah, someone called the police, you know? The other waitresses were paralyzed with fear in the back, and even the timid chef made a rare appearance. What a mess. I like this cafe's food. Now it would be awkward to come here. That's why stop him, Damamori. What are you doing? Stop him. Oh my god, she's an M, isn't she? Look at her. Look at her sparking kawaii face. The waitress should have been in shock, but her eyes were sparkling with stars. When Kawase let go of her hair, she went off to grab him another coffee with a quite spring in her step. I don't know. Once she regrouped with the other waitresses, they went back to their early chapter. You know what this is? Pretty privilege. Because Kawase looks hot, everything's forgiven. The pretty privilege. She pressed the handkerchief Kawase had touched to her nose and ended up sharing its smell with other servers. I'm not gonna comment. God, this man. He's rich and annoying. If only you weren't hot and rich, people would hate you. Just saying. Then again, I think if you're not hot nor rich, people wouldn't act this way towards you either. No one told you to grab her hair. Yeah, well, even though you're the protagonist, Samamori, I don't know. He shouldn't be able to get away with his oblivious tyranny. If he had been a politician, he would have been the target of scrutiny. If he had been a soldier, he would have been called a rebel. But Kawase was forgiven. I know, right? What's up with that? That must have been the luck he was born with. I don't think it's the luck, I think it's the face. But what annoyed me even more was that he himself didn't seem to derive any joy from his selfishness. Noticing my unamused gaze, the malicious smile returned to Kawase's face. Ame. Ame is rain, if you don't know. Kairi. I remember manuscript, gather it up, tap it up against the table to straighten it out. Kawase's terrible mood was improving. Perhaps he was finally giving up on his uniform. Probably because he got free coffee for being a tyrant. I don't know. He's worse than Karen. Don't diss where I work. What's wrong? What? What's wrong? Cute?
どういう意味だそれは。
どういう意味はそれは。
変人同士お似合いって意味で。それじゃあね。期待してるよ、玉森くん。
Damamori kun. I love that. I love that. I don't ship them anymore though. Kawase can die in the ditch. That damn wannabe editor. It's not a nice one though. Pretty! Very pretty, the artwork. 2 years ago, we came to the capital from the countryside of Aizu. Kawase and I had been together for as long as I could remember, so he was something like a childhood friend. You be with him for that long, and I guess that's why you just can't stand his tyranny, I don't know. Long ago, we would often play by the mountain streams. We fished, catch bugs, laugh together. I say laugh together, but Kawase had the same finicky personality even back then. So he wouldn't touch the fish he caught and let all the bugs he kept die. Anyway, he was a fussy man. That's why what I thought was fun and what he thought was fun were probably completely different. People were generally shocked whenever I talked about our friendship. They joke friends today, enemies tomorrow. For better or worse, he and I were complete opposite. Unlike me, Kawase was flexible. You called that flexible, throwing coffee on people and grabbing their hair? I don't think that was flexible. Unique, special, a genius, a serial killer. My writing, like the piece from earlier, had the power to captivate people. And yet, Kawase's true nature, like what he had shown the waitress and me, was pitch black. The reason he could hurl our insult at each other and still hang out together could be summed up in a few words. We were childhood friends. You know, before that, when you first know each other, was he not like this? Yeah. The streetcar, which was running a little behind schedule, finally came. Suddenly pushed in, I was forced to stand in the corner of the car. The rain was running down hard now, making my midday sky dim. It was a cold rain. I wondered how long this year's rainy season would last. Someone once said, instead of asking the rain in the sky, ask the cat. Binky, how's the rain? She's asleep. She doesn't care.
What?
Cats. Animals? Speaking of animals. The streetcar went from Kanda Bridge to Jinbo-cho via the Nishikicho's riverside. A smoky fragrance gently wafted by when I jumped from the streetcar. It was the unique atmosphere that drifted through the old book town of Jinbo-cho. Used bookstores here and there were closing up their shops because of the rain. Customers were driven out in groups. The shopkeepers were indifferent to them only during times like this. The customers without umbrellas had no choice but to find a place for cover other than under the eaves. When did the bookstore close when it rains? 1970 thing, maybe, I don't know. Don't go out much in that year. Overflowing with sighs, they run through the old book town. I was in a hurry, but not because I wanted to get out of the rain. There was a reason I need to get back to the shop right away. Whoa, that is some massive bookstore. Pretty nice in blue though, kinda like it. Why is it the only one with triangle roof though? You know what, I'm gonna stop asking question. The shop was called Ume Bachido. Oh, I get it now, Ume, because it's rain. Located on the outskirts of the old book town, it was an iron building, an iron bookstore. You know what, whatever. At first glance, it didn't appear to be a used bookstore. It was a mysterious building that looked more like a nobleman's storehouse or a bank's treasury. I leaned my umbrella against the shoulder and opened the door using both hands and an abundance of force. We only opened the shop during gloomy, rainy weather like this, which is why it's called Ume Bachido. Pretty interesting.
Tenshu, tadaima motomimashita.
Tenshu, tadaima. Tadaima.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, I like the shopkeeper's voice. The shopkeeper gave me a small nod from behind the soji, which is, I'm guessing, the black checkboard window thingy. He coughed a few times and seemed to be turning over in his bed. The shopkeeper said he suffered from an illness. That's why, in an effort to be as considerate as possible, I kept myself from hurrying as I headed up the second floor. I burst into my room, stumbled, walked over to the futon I never put away, and jumped towards the fishbowl. Relatable.
Kinyo.
Kinyo! In the bowl was a goldfish swimming around in a huff. Should never put a goldfish in a round fishbowl like this without filter and shit. It's gonna die. I looked down at him and felt like I could finally breathe. Thank goodness. The animal I had remembered on the streetcar was this guy. I had been worried that the earthquake earlier may have frightened him, but it didn't look like any water had spilled out. The bowl hadn't even moved. Apparently, Umebachido didn't just look sturdy. The water was cloudy. I guess I had been so engrossed with manuscript over the past 3 days and nights that I hadn't thought about cleaning his bowl. Poor fish. This won't do, I thought as I grasped the goldfish tightly in my hand and scooped it out of the dirty water. What? You scoop it out with your hand? I'm not gonna ask. The goldfish writhed, grasping for air. Obviously. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? I know you're suffering, but please hang in there. Wow. I threw the dirty water out the window and tossed the goldfish into the now empty bowl. You'll have to suffer for just a little longer. I felt around the rain gutter above my head and pulled out the cork plug. Rainwater. You know what? It's the 1970s, you know, I can't. As soon as I did, the rain had fallen from the roof into the gutter, drained into the fishbowl. Freed from gravity, the goldfish swarmed around peacefully. I plunged the rain gutter back up and was filled with the happiness at seeing my now content goldfish. A shadow suddenly flickered beneath the fishbowl. When I moved the bowl, I saw a red umbrella looking at me in the shock. Minakami? Minakami is pretty cute.
Minakami! ちょうどよかったな。私も今帰ったところだ。
ちょうどよかった。
Oh, I love the voice actors, I swear to God.
またお前の言う通り雨が降ったぞ。おかげでほとんど濡れずに済んだ。
そうか。
そっか。
どうした？なんだか元気がないな。
いや、金魚を素手で掴むなよ。
I know, right? So you even see me doing that, huh?
金魚屋の親父だってそうしてただろ
う。でもかわいそうだ。
I know, right?
なんだ、私に文句があるのか？
文句というか、金魚飼育の助言というか。
Preach, Minakami, preach!
金魚屋の親父がこれでいいと言ったからそうしたまでだ。
Man, Namamori, I'm about to freaking hit you in the head.
売り物の金魚もいっぱい死んでただろ。
ああ、なんでだろうな。
Minakami just told you why.
どうした？今日はやけに気が立ってるな。まるで川瀬みたいに横暴だ。
Gee, was that a compliment? I was trying to hide my bad mood, but he seen right through me. When my face suddenly fell, he immediately smiled. Then he twirled his umbrella and came into the shop. Say what you want about my competitive nature, but I didn't want to be compared to Kawase. Same, girl. Gave my goldfish a heap of food to console him, then went downstairs to where Minakami was waiting. Like Kawase, Minakami was another childhood friend from the same village, and also a student at Imperial University. Minakami unwrapped the cloth he had brought with him and pulled out some books. He took a few and returned them to the shelf slowly enough to make me yawn. I watched this daily scene with my chin resting in my hand.
適当でいいのだ、みなかみ。ここは目的があってくる場所じゃない。適当に眺め、適当に手に取る。それが梅鉢堂の面白さだ。
Can be difficult for you to find a book though. It was probably just because neither I nor the shopkeeper wanted to go through the trouble of organizing, but wearing it that way, it made it more novel.
そういうことだったのか。吉屋の隣にルイコーが並んでいるのを見てから、この店はおかしいと思っていたが。
Okay. Wait, yawning. Okay. Is it like the art style that make the hair, all of them, like bluish white? Or is it like they do have that color hair, like two-color hair? I know, it's a good look though. Also, I see that type characters that never open their eyes, and when they open their eyes, it's like, you know, shit's about to happen. Minakami nodded in understanding as he continued to return the books to the shelf, his hands moving as if were tracing constellations.
だからお前な。
なあ、玉森。今気がついたんだが、やはり無意味なんてことはないよ。
What is it? Minakami pointed towards the top shelf of the bookcase as if he had found the planet Venus among the books.
いろはにほら、例えばルイコーの80万年後の社会の隣には吉屋の花物語が並んでる。本の題名順に並べられているんだ。
Are they? I think it's a coincidence, but
それ
sure.
を適当というのだ。
I finally stood up and grabbed the book from his hand and shoved them into the shelf.
考えすぎか？
ミステリー好きがこうしたな。だが、批判があるなら守るに越したことはない。
I pulled out Kisaku's double heart, which Minakami had just put back, and went to return it to top shelf. Or at least I tried to, but no matter how much I jumped, I couldn't reach. Okay. Minakami nudged the spine with his hand and pushed it back to the shelf. Aww, thanks, babe.
玉森はこっちを頼む。
まあ
All the 5 books he had given me went to the bottom shelf. Before I could glare at him and tell him not to make fun of me, he looked back up. I reluctantly got on my knees and put away the books, following his lead.
結局3日間で何冊読んだんだ
20冊は借りたかな。
What? Bro, how do you read that much books?
20冊って
I know, right? I didn't even read that many books this year. Bitch, I haven't even hold a book this year.
新作は入れたか。
1ヶ月前から何も変わっていないぞ
そうか。
Soka. He sounds disappointed.
残念そうだなってまさかここにある本全部読破したのか
おそらく。もうピンとくる題名はないから。
Probably, he said. Once Minakami had finished returning all 20 books he borrowed, he bent back and looked along the shelves. Then let out a distant sigh, full of sense of accomplishment.
4000冊あるんだぞ
4,000 books, bitch.
何冊かすでに読んだことがあるものだったから、実際読んだのは300冊くらいだ。
That is still crazy. Also, how old are you?
一段落ついてしまったかな。
Yeah, well, it's about time you rest. Minakami was an abnormally avid reader. I would say so, yeah. If there was a story he hadn't read, it was like he couldn't relax until he had the book. Even though I say he couldn't relax, it wasn't like he would fly into a frenzy or something. Then why didn't you ask him to critique? He seems to have a lot of experience. If he had found a story he didn't know, he would gently take it into his hand, head to the register, and pay. Then he'll sell it back once he was done reading it. That was all. At first glance, he seemed to be a casual reader, but reading every book in the Imperial University library was definitely abnormal.
そういえば、川瀬に批評もらうとか言ってただろう。今日はどうだった？
Don't remind me, bitch.
えまああれだ散々だったよ
Not technically.
散々？一体何が気に入らなかったんだろう。
Minakami looked thoroughly confused. Unable to bear seeing his face like that, I immediately averted my gaze. He didn't think there was such a thing as a poor piece of literature or writing. That's why he wouldn't hold back with his praises for me. Oh. He's a cheerleader, ain't he? Honestly, when I realized that, I wondered if it was really okay to find comfort in that ambiguity. And recently I've been asking that brute Kawase for his critiques. Why don't you have a middleman, you know? If Kawase was the whip, Minakami was candy. Cute. Perfect balance for a threesome. Sorry. He was a candy sweeter than Cosby. What my wounded ego needed right now was that sweet candy named Minakami.
明日の昼川瀬が梅鉢堂に来ることになってるだからお前も来いそして川瀬に行って聞かせるのだ
Back me up, Minakami.
言って聞かせる？何をだ？
私の輝かせる才能についてだお前が言えば奴も少しは私を見返すかもしれん
Hopefully.
すまん。明日の昼は講義があって、そう多くは時間を。
Oh, they're ever so busy, Minakami.
私の言うことが聞けないのか
Man, what is this friendship? Kawase is being a bitch to Mamori. Mamori is being a bitch to Minakami. Who is Minakami being a bitch to?
嫌に必死だな。講義の合間に行けたら行くよ。
いいや必ず来い
Demanding much?
だから行けたら。
必ず来い
Come on, Minakami, don't be pushover, fight!
そう不安がるね。
I wasn't tizzy at all, I was just lonely. Oh, poor Mamori.
玉盛り出してないな。
Ooh. What is it?
これでも読んで元気出せ。
Minakami said as he handed me the book that was left in his hand. Wondering what it was, I took a look at the cover. It was Kisako's Yumeno's Dogra Magra.
店の商品を借りっぱなしじゃ悪いからな。読み終わったら商品として並べてくれて構わない。新作だから高値をつけてもいいんじゃないか。
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
いらん、持って帰れ。
どうしてだ。喜ぶと思ったのに。
私は今忙しいのだ。他人の無双など見ていられん。
You just don't want to read the book, don't you?
そうか。残念だな。
残念だな。
だよい、勝手に商品に合わせるな。
Cute.
バレたか。
バレたか。You calmly put it on the shelf right in front of me. I was so irritable today I couldn't even get through Minakami's little joke. I went back to the register and slumped over so far that I ended up lying across the counter. I saw a single piece of paper flutter down from my slanted point of view. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was written in the bold print. I peeled it off the desk, lifting it high above my head out of reflex.
ずっと見たがっていただろ。
再上映されるのか。
Jekyll and Hyde is really good. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was a horror film. The main characters was a name named Dr. Jekyll and his other personality, Hyde. It showed at Nikatsu Theater in Kanda last spring, but I had missed run and now it was here. I couldn't believe Toyo Cinema was rerunning it. I checked the date and time, it will be playing tomorrow afternoon. It didn't seem to be some sort of cruel joke either. I thought tomorrow afternoon you're gonna meet Minakami and the others though.
奥さんから招待券をいただいたんだ。ご婦人方は怪奇映画に興味がないそうだ。
That's not true. I know a lot of people, a lot of girls that like horror films.
そりゃそうだ。女子供にはわからんよ。
How dare you? You know what? It's the 1970s. Sexism is still very high.
けど、お前が忙しいんじゃな。
I can be not busy if you need me.
行かない理由がない。
I know, right? I thrust the ticket deep into my sleeve. Minakami was shocked by how enthusiastically I made up my mind, but he just smiled and nodded. I've been waiting for this movie, bitch.
そう言うと思ったよ。明日の夜、東洋キネマで待ち合わせでいいか。
Ooh, is it a date night? Oh, also, he said cinema, kinema. It's pretty cute. Minakami folded his cloth and stuffed it in his bag, then put on his still damp mantle.
もう行くのか。
デートに古い友人が来ているんだ。これから会いに行ってくる。
Nice mantle. An old friend of mine.
私の知り合いか。
ああ、いいや。どうだろう。
どうだろうってお前。
We were old friends, so didn't that mean they were just normal acquaintances? Oh, we're being possessive and obsessive already? Damamori. But Minakami would say nothing more about it, so I stopped pressing him. You're trying to show off again. I wasn't sure if he heard my grumbling, but he opened his umbrella and smiled even wider.
勉強も頑張るよ。
Thanks.
田舎に残したばあさんのためにもな。
Grandma? In the country? I thought we're still in the same country. That has nothing to do with this. I was going to throw out my usual comeback, but instantly fell silent. It's as if it seen through me. Minakami furrowed his brows, but immediately hid behind the edge of his umbrella. Then, like a falling leaf, he swiftly passed me and disappeared. Minakami was gone. All that remained was the sound of the rain. Still, he was always left a strange, lingering presence. Maybe he himself didn't realize how unusual it felt. It must have been something only I noticed. When Tamawari, you know what? Be confident. You know what? You do you, honey. Minakami never said goodbye. Ooh. Maybe he doesn't like goodbyes. His departure was always vague. It made me think he would suddenly show up again if I called his name. I was probably the only one who noticed that. But keep up with my studies, huh? I rested my cheek. Oh, it's lagging. I rested my cheek against the counter again and flipped through the reference book Minakami had given me. And in 2 years, just looking at the old reference book made me realize that the time had gone by in the blink of an eye. I mentioned it before, but Kawase, Minakami, and I had come to the capital 2 years ago. To say the capital had the first finest educational institute in Japan wouldn't have been an exaggeration, and we came to take the Imperial University entrance exam. But are we a student? I don't think we are, right? I had studied for it. Even though I sometimes read fantasy novels and went to the movies, I had studied ever so diligently, all the time. But a year later, only Kawase and Minakami were accepted to the Imperial University. Then maybe it's not your path, honey. It's okay, we all went there. Isn't there like any other university that you may want to apply to, you know? Doesn't need to be Imperial, right? Since I didn't think any of us would actually pass, never dreamed I would be the only one to fail. Maybe that's why you failed, because you didn't thought that you would pass. Stopping yourself before even going there, you know? Tamamori's story. At the time, Minakami and I were under the care of a philanthropist named Oizumi. Minakami and I? So I guess Kawase was not? She was a widow who acted as if she didn't expect anything from us country bumpkins. Take as long as you like, she would said, and I had been moved by her words. But when it came to me, the one who didn't pass, she looked at me with blatant disgust. 2 years had gone by, and then this year she had given me a final notice to vacate. Kick me out of her house. Guess she just wants to raise some good old gentleman that's from Imperial University. She told me she'd be grateful she provided me with meals and place to sleep like I cared. If you're going to act like a virtuous person, see through the end. Yeah, well, I don't like people being parasites too, though. I don't know. I provided food and a home for my goldfish, but I didn't feel any bitterness towards him. In fact, I wanted him to ask more of me. I was much more noble than she was. The shopkeeper of Omebechido was even more noble.
Tamamori-kun, ちょっと散歩してくるよ。
I really like his voice.
ああ、はい。
店番お願いします。
Oh my god. Minakami was about to meet a friend, and then the shopkeeper's gonna go away. Are they the old friends? Gasp, scandalous. I heard the back door open. His footsteps and awful cuffs melted into the sound of the rain. It'd only been a month ago. I've been driven out of the Oizumi's house. I mean, I fled from her home. Rain like what we're having today beating down on me. I had no money, no shelter. What had waited for me in the drizzle was Umebachido's large front doors. To get out of the rain, I pretended to look for books. When I let out a gloomy sigh, though, the shopkeeper had spoken to me from the back of the store. I was like a broken record that day. I tried to say something, but I couldn't answer. My voice just cracked. It was only the sound that I could get out. But the shopkeeper, with his calm voice full of understanding, had fixed the needle on my record and made me play it all out. He listened to how I fled from the Oizumi household. It's lagging. And how I had eaten anything for half a day, to how it had been more than a day I bathed. And once he was done listening, he offered me a deal. If I ran the shop, he would rent out the room on the second floor to me. The shop was closed when it's sunny. He said he wanted to run the shop only on rainy days. Every morning he would leave enough money for my meals, for by the day by the register. That was the only mutual exchange between us. That's right, I never seen the shop's owner, not even once. Ghost! Well, whatever. I went back to leaning my face against my hand and watching the scenery blurred by the rain outside. And with that being said, my throat's closing up, and I'm actually really sleepy, and I need to take a nap before I stream tonight, so that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you everyone for watching. I actually really enjoy this game. I love it. It's BL, so who can complain? But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Stay tuned if you want more. Subscribe, I guess. Leave the bell if you want. And if you want to catch me on streams, my name is Carvon on Twitch. You can find me there. Well, that is all. Thank you everyone. And happy Halloween. Bye bye.